Welcome in to the Ryan Ripken show. Once again, I am not Ryan Ripken. I am Kevin Ostrich. We're here after the Orioles. What a crazy game, or should I say what a crazy first half of this game. 9-5, Baltimore picks up the series win over the Tampa Bay Rays. I don't even know where to start with this one, to be honest. I mean, it kind of settled down as it went on, but the first 4 innings of this game were literally absolute madness. I mean, one of the wilder starts to a game that I think we've seen all season. Might be the wildest game the Orioles have played all year, and it really was only the first 4 innings of this game. And I saw a lot of people the new game people play is who's leading off between Zach and I to do these post-game shows. And a lot of people guessed me, and those guessing Zach was at the game. So I'm hitting lead off here. Zach is going to come in here in a second. Actually, I'll let him in here. Let's let him in.
I was gonna say, I was like gonna be here in a second. I'm here.
Well, I was debating because Joe is where'd Joe's comment go about my props? Here we go. Give us the props of the day.
What are we sitting with?
We got 3 different props of the day. For those who are new to the live streams, after every Orioles win, I bring out new props for some players of the game here. We got a lot of them today, Zach. A lot of players of the game. Let's start off. I'll tell the backstory. We have this bear. This bear, I got this bear in the mountains in Montana. If you can put that together, Ryan Mountcastle, 2 home runs on the day. So we got to give Mountie the shout out here with the mountain bear. We also have some taters.
Oh, I knew it. We have to.
I think these are chicken nuggets, but we got some taters. Now, I'm not going to eat a raw chicken nugget live on stream. I'm not that. There is a limit to my balance. So we're not, but I wanted to bring out the taters. And then last prop, 2 of them actually. We got the produce. You want to take it away, Zach? Who's the produce?
Jordan Westberg, baby.
All Jordan Westberg does is produce. So we got the produce. I'm going to eat some celery here. That's where we're going to go. Oh, wow. All right. I'm too excited. I'm going to eat some celery here to celebrate Jordan Westberg back in the lineup. Looks like that injury is gone. Does not look like.
I'd say it's doing pretty well. I don't know. If you've watched him today, I think it's going pretty well.
Yeah. So celebrate. God, this is long. Look at how long this is. This is a long piece of celery.
We'll clip that.
Yeah, right. This is a long piece of celery. So while I'm eating the celery, Zach, I'll mute myself because it's crunchy. But how crazy was the start of this game? I mean, we've talked about the Orioles winning wild games before. To me, this might be the wildest game that we've seen them play this year.
Yeah, and the majority of it happened, innings 1 through 5, 1 through 4.5, 5.5. And then it felt like it was just both teams decide, okay, this is it. And they both threw shutout balls. Shout out to both. I'll even give a shout out to both bullpens because the Orioles bullpen, over 5 innings of shutout ball. Give them a hand themselves. And then obviously the Tampa Bay Rays, got to give the opponents a hand as well. They went out there and their bullpen did just as well. So it was a weird game where it felt like it was going to be like 15-9 finish, 15-12. And both bullpens came in and were like, no, this is it. That's game. And so shout out the Orioles bullpen, but you also have to give respect to the Rays bullpen. But when it comes to the starters, the Orioles got to Taj Bradley. It's what we talked about last night, Kevin. You don't want Taj Bradley to settle in because he's a guy who can take over a game, get strikeouts, and just get out of huge situations. And the Orioles refused to let that happen today. Whenever there was a big moment, it didn't matter who was up, how many outs there were. They came through in the big situations, and that's how they found themselves with another series win against the AL East. They are now 14-0-5 against the AL East in their last 19 series. They are 11-3 versus the AL East this season in games. So I don't know about you, but if we're talking head-to-head, there is a very clear big dog in the AL East, and they reside in Baltimore, Maryland.
That is correct. Before we get into the rest of the game, Zach, I don't know if you saw, but there's a new fund. Not only is there a Banksy fund, there is now the Zach Medical Bills Fund after your 40-yard dashes last night. So $5 to you And so for those who weren't there last night, Zach did a couple of 40-yard sprints down the streets of Baltimore last night. The first one lagged for all of us on the stream, but actually in the recording after, it was fine. So we made Zach do another one for no reason at the end of the day. How are you feeling? A little sore?
I woke up so confused why my hamstrings were sore. And then I was like, oh, that's right. I decided to run sprints. There's nothing the intoxicated, unstretched human body loves more than quick, sudden sprints in the middle of Baltimore City. So, we got them done.
Yeah. Well, shout out to you, Joe. Thank you for the donation. I don't know if Zach's going to put the phone in his mouth again. Yeah, there. Okay. Yep. There he goes. Let's get into the fireworks. Literally, I mean, they had fireworks to end the game on Friday, and they did not go away to start Saturday's game. You got the back-to-back jacks in the first by Mountie and Anthony Santander, and how poetic, Zach, that this was the first Orioles homer to hit Utah Street on Anthony Santander bobblehead day, and of course Brett Hollander was on the call today, who we all know was that very famous Santander to right call. I mean, start the game off with fireworks. Back-to-back homers will do it.
Yeah, and actually, fun fact, the Tony home run went right over my head. I did end up, between us, me, Kevin, and everyone in this chat, I ducked. I could not see the ball off the bat. I just saw it, and it was one of those off the bat, you knew it was gone type home runs. And I just found myself on the flag court, and I was like, I have no clue where this ball was going, and I ducked. I fully ducked, and then it went obviously onto Utah Street. But what a shot, both of them. And then obviously you have Mountie going yard twice, Westberg going yard. But it just, Kevin, we always talk about not relying on the home run ball. If you're going to hit 4 home runs in a game, you can rely on the home run ball, Yeah. So at that point, I'll give them a pass. 4 home runs. It felt like there was just magic from the second they stepped on the field today.
Yeah, look, it's not sustainable, but when it happens, and that's the way you can win the game. So, and you were on Utah Street Patrol. It felt like, Zach, you were given updates from them marking the ball, and actually, a stat that I didn't know is that Santander has 10 homers that have hit Utah Street in his Orioles career. That is one behind the record, which is Chris Davis, who was at 11. So one more homer on Utah Street from Santander will tie that record up. So people were vibes in the ballpark had to be high, Zach, after you reporting from the park after that bottom of the first. Top of the second, though, Kyle Bradish gives up 3 runs on 4 hits. The Caballero single, and then you have the Diaz triple scoring 2. Bradish didn't have his best stuff today. I mean, it was very apparent. He lasted 2 2/3 innings, giving up 7 hits, 5 runs, 3 walks, and did have 6 strikeouts on the day. But what did you see from Bradish, and why do you think he didn't have it?
It was one of those days. It was just very apparent from the first inning that he didn't have his A stuff. And we see Corbin Burnes. Corbin Burnes might be the most open pitcher I've ever seen about. He'll walk into a press conference and go, I had B+ stuff. I had C- stuff. Like, he is extremely open about the fact that every single time you go out there, you don't have your stuff. And the past 2 times we've seen Kyle Bradish in the shortened start because of the rain delay and then the 7-inning no-hitter, Kyle Bradish had his A+ stuff. He had stuff that if you walk out there, you're going to go 7 innings and just dominate guys. And today it wasn't there. He couldn't find the strike zone. It felt like at-bats were lingering more than they needed to. And at the end of the day, the first 2 innings just killed him. They really did. And then shout out, like I said before, the bullpen comes in and just completely shuts down the Rays. That's exactly what the Orioles needed. And I love how Kyle Bradish in the postgame talked about the game. He said, hey, our offense is electric. Our offense can go out there and win us games. And they goes, and thank God they can, because I spotted the Rays 5 runs in the first 2.5 innings.
Yeah, and that actually, Eli's here says, first time, our super chat seems like there's someone who steps up each game, and I love it because there's not just one dude carrying the team. So thank you, Eli, first of all, for first time. Yep, there he goes. First time super chatter. Appreciate that, first of all. But Eli's completely right here, where it doesn't have to be Gunnar every game. It doesn't have to be Adley every game. It doesn't have to be Jordan Westberg every game, but Then
Hey,
in that
Kevin.
bottom of the second, oh, well, go ahead.
Kevin, who hit the go-ahead RBI today? Kyle Stowers.
It was, well, yes. I mean, there were multiple quote unquote go ahead RBI.
Yes,
the
yes,
final go ahead RBI, yes, was Kyle Stowers. Exactly right.
And it's like Eli's saying, if you would have told us Kyle Stowers, there's probably been over the last 8-9 games when the Orioles have been on this nice little stretch, it feels like every single game there's a different guy going out there and getting the go-ahead, having the big day. Yes, Ryan Mountcastle, 2 home runs, set the tone and won the game. But Kyle Stowers, not the star player. Obviously, Orioles Twitter specifically feels a certain way about Kyle Stowers. They think he should be getting more at-bats. But at the end of the day, he's not. But in the timely hitting he's coming in, the times he's coming into the at-bats, he's making the most out of it. And that kind of exemplifies how the Orioles are winning this year. It's a bunch of different guys not caring who goes and wins the game.
Now, that conversation is actually interesting, Zach, because your point on Orioles Twitter and just I think across all of Baltimore right now is Kyle Stowers deserves to play every day. Do you agree with that notion, or do you still think the role he's in is where he should be for a little longer?
I think right now he should play every day, and that's not saying he's the most talented outfielder we have. That's not saying he's doing more than Tony, but it's in the fact if you play your hot hands right now. And right now, every time Kyle Stowers has started, he's getting hits, he's getting on base, he's driving in runs, he's having multiple competitive at-bats that give the Orioles an advantage down the line. So right now, I say start Kyle Stowers. Kyle Stowers should be getting more starting time. Does that mean in a week I'm going to feel the same way? No. I am very much you ride the hot hand. Who's doing the most for you? And right now, Kyle Stowers, I would say, is in your top 3 outfielders who are producing the most.
Yeah, and I also think, too, if we go based off of Eli's point again, it can be somebody else every day. Yeah. We know that Cedric Mullins has had some pretty bad luck at the plate recently. He's been struggling, but over the last 3 or 4 starts he's had a bunch of hits robbed, right? We should be talking about him having a bunch of hits. And sometimes it's just, look, if you're the Orioles, you want to play your hot hands because you're trying to win games now. But that doesn't mean that you're not trying to find ways to get others involved. So I think, look, Stowers should be playing every day or at least close to every day. You can move these guys around the outfield. You can figure out who sits. But in my opinion, he is coming up in spots and, like Jordan Westberg does, produces in those spots. And for some of the struggles that Cedric has had, with some of the struggles that Tony has had, Stowers has been decently consistent, right, since getting caught up here. So you want to play your consistent guys and find ways to work the others in. Now,
real quick, I just wanted the last thing on Stowers is you got to give the guy credit because we saw the exact same thing happen to Heston. We've seen this numerous times where young guys in the Orioles system get called up and they're not getting the everyday at-bats because of the talent at this level that the Orioles have. The Orioles have the deepest 40-man roster in the league, and it's hard to crack this lineup. It's hard to crack the top 9. But every single time Kyle Stowers has had his number called, he's gone up and given you everything that you could want from him in that moment. So he's forcing your hand. This isn't something where it's like, oh, if Kyle Stowers is up, you have to play him. I was under the impression that Kyle Stowers was coming up to ride the bench. Kyle Stowers was coming up to ride the bench instead of Heston Kjerstad because they wanted Kjerstad to get more at-bats. They were okay with Stowers sitting on the bench. But it's one of those things where if Stowers is going to keep producing, like you said, Kevin, if Stowers, every time he gets his number called, goes up there and gets the job done, how can you take him out, you know?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, we know the Orioles are it's an interesting spot they're in because they have so much young talent and they're also trying to win games. So how do you balance out veteran versus young talent? But in my opinion, the answer is kind of simple, where it's like, look, if the young guy's producing over a vet right now, of course you still want to find ways to get the vet active and in the games and have them figure it out. It's not just like you throw him to the curb and that's it. But if a young guy's producing, you got to play the young guy, right? I mean, that's just...
Yeah. And Stowers is forcing their hand with that. So that's what's most impressive to me about Kyle Stowers and how he's handled this weird role that he was handed coming into the 2024 season.
Yeah, 100%. Now, the game was 5-4 after the top of the third, but that's when the Orioles decided, yeah, all right, no more runs, and we're going to get a couple of our own. We know that Jordan Westberg had the infield hit to end up score a guy. You got the Stowers double, and then you have Jorge Mateo getting an insurance run with that sac fly to center. But then in the bottom of the fourth, Mountcastle, another home run. It was a 2-home run day for Mountie, who, again, has been on a literally torrid pace recently. He's a guy, all-star Mountie. We know who he is, Zach. He is an all-star. He is a producer as well. And to me, it's so hard to pitch to him with the way he's hitting, because it seems like every time he gets up, there's that energy in the stadium that's like, oh, this thing has the potential to get out of here and get out of here in a hurry, right?
Yeah, and it's exactly what you said. Mountcastle, I tweeted about it earlier. There are different levels to being hot. There are different levels. But it seems like Ryan Mountcastle, every single time he, quote unquote, gets hot, it's a different hot than every other player. It's a hot that only few players in the MLB can reach. The Aaron Judges, the Juan Sotos. When Ryan Mountcastle is going on all cylinders, it's hard to argue that he's not a top 5, top 10 hitter in this league, because he goes out there and he'll go, okay, over these next 11 games, I'm going to hit 480. I'm going to hit 6 home runs in 11 games. And you look back at his stats over some of these stretches and you're like, that's not humanly possible to go up in a game that you're supposed to fail 7 or 8 times out of 10 and succeed 6 times out of 10 over a 10-game course. When Ryan Mountcastle gets hot, there's nothing like it on this earth. There's no player like it in this league. He will go out there and he will put a team on his back, like we saw today, the 2-run shot, obviously, then the second home run, and you just felt the entire time. Even his last at bat went to the warning track, and you just felt like he's in that zone right now where it just looks like a volleyball, a beach ball, just flying out there in slow-mo towards him.
Yeah, that thing is getting out in a hurry. And it's again, Mountie can produce, Gunnar can produce, Adley can, Jordan Westberg can. You get the other guy stepping up, Mateo, Stowers, like everybody does it. And Joe actually makes a good point here about Kyle Stowers, and we'll kind of go back and then go forward on this, Zach. But Joe says, if I can find the comment, that'd be good. Here we go. With Stowers, he got a chance, he took it. Kjerstad hasn't really gotten that shot. And so it's about role, right, for these guys, where it's like, where's their role? We know Stowers is a bit, I think he's known more for his defensive abilities, at least compared to Heston Kjerstad at this point. But for Stowers, he did take his opportunity. The Orioles gave him opportunities.
Say what you were.
No, I was just going to say that the Orioles, when Heston was up, they didn't give him a ton of at-bats. And it seems like Stowers has already gotten in the lineup and took advantage of those opportunities. And so the Orioles, you said, like, forced their hand. It's like, okay, well, if he's going to hit this way, we have to play him. With Heston, it was really, okay, he'll come up for a pinch hit here. He'll get one start in like a week. And with Stowers, it just feels like the dynamic's a little different.
I'm 50-50, and Joe, you're going to hate this answer. Heston got the exact same shot that Kyle Stowers did. They were just more okay with Kyle Stowers sitting. I think Heston Kjerstad went out and he was in this, I'll say it, a horrible role. It's in this role where you're a young guy that you're hot, you're feeling great, but then you have to go to the majors and you're sitting 4 straight games, 5 straight games, and that sucks. That's hard to get in a rhythm. And Heston would come, like you say, he'd do the pinch hits. He'd come one at bat a game if needed. But Kyle Stowers started the exact same way. The difference is Heston Kjerstad didn't get on base in his limited opportunities, and Kyle Stowers, every single time he's brought up to the plate, it seems like he's getting on. It seems like he's driving in runs and forcing the point to where it is. How do you take Kyle Stowers out of this lineup? Heston Kjerstad at no point forced the Orioles' hand saying, hey, we have to start this guy because he can't stop hitting. Is that me saying that I think Kyle Stowers is a better player than Heston Kjerstad? No. Heston Kjerstad, and Joe, you know how we feel about this. Heston Kjerstad is a special talent in this organization. Heston Kjerstad's a guy I think can hit 40 to 50 home runs in a year in the major leagues, and I think he is an untouchable piece of this Orioles future. But right now, they both got the same opportunity, but they're more comfortable with Kyle Stowers, especially when he's producing in limited opportunities. he's earned that opportunity over Heston Kjerstad because they're more comfortable if Stowers goes a little cold with him sitting 4 out of 5 days. They don't want Heston Kjerstad sitting. Heston Kjerstad needs to be in a lineup every single day.
And plus, we saw Stowers in that role last year where he is used to, if he needs to sit, he can sit. And with Heston, I think that was a new experience for him, which is fine, right? I mean, young guys figure it out at different times. And we know the Orioles are going to have some pretty tough decisions to make when it comes to some of their prospects, whether it's their outfield guys, some of the guys on the infield. You know, they also have some pitching prospects they could maybe offer up in deals. But for Stowers, since he's been in that role before, I agree with you, Zach, where I feel like it's easier for the Orioles to say, if we need Kyle Stowers to sit, we feel more comfortable with him sitting. With Heston, it just feels like it feels like a waste because he can still get at bats down in AAA and then be called up again. So it's a very interesting conversation. But I also think we haven't talked about the bullpen at all here. I know you mentioned it at the top of the show, but to me, I mean, we gotta give a round of applause as that goes dark on me here to look at the stats.
I was gonna say I'm looking at stats. Hold up.
I know you are. You're a good kid, as Ryan says. So Bradish goes 2 2/3. We know that it was not his day, but Jacob Webb comes in after Bradish immediately and gives the Orioles 2 1/3 scoreless innings, only allowing the 1 walk. And then it snowballed from there in a good way. It was a good type of snowball. Dylan Tate comes in, does give up 2 hits, but gets through an inning. You got Cionel Perez coming in, no hit ball, 2 strikeouts. Yennier Cano comes in, gets 2 strikeouts. Keegan Aiken comes in, gets 2 strikeouts. It's just one guy after the other. Zach, forever we've been talking about this bullpen, and can we get consistency from this group? The starters have been consistent all season for the most part. It's the bullpen that we've seen flashes of greatness, and we've seen flashes of pure disaster. Tonight it was the opposite, or this afternoon, I guess it was the opposite, where it was a disaster start by Kyle Bradish today. We can all admit that. But the bullpen came in, and they were the superheroes of this pitching staff today.
Kevin, I was told the bullpen sucked. I was told
I keep character, man. My bad.
I know. I was told this bullpen, no matter what the lead is, they can't hold it. It's like you said exactly. This bullpen, all we ask for is consistency, because you see today's type of games where you're like, this bullpen can go out there and dominate a team. This bullpen has the ability to go out there and just simply shut down a team that through 2 2/3 innings had put up 5 runs. This was a team that the Rays, I'm telling you, through 2 1/3 innings, 2 2/3 innings, they're in the dugout going, this is a game we put up 10. We put up 15. We can go. This is going to be a shootout. And the Orioles bullpen came in and said, absolutely not. Jacob Webb, give the man his flowers, came in, got out of a massive situation. And Jacob Webb has not been great recently. He's had some struggles. But we talked about last night, Jacob Webb comes in, Randy Arozarena's the tying run, gets the strikeout. That was, as we called it last night, the biggest out of the game. Then he comes in here and gives them 2 1/3 shutout innings, exactly what they needed. Jacob Webb, give the man his flowers, did exactly what the Orioles needed him to do. And then the rest followed in suit. I love how Dylan Tate's looking. I love how Cionel Perez is looking. And it feels like each reliever is just slowly getting back to that point of, we will consistently produce at this level. And if it gets there, we both agree. We think the Orioles are going to add a bullpen arm at some point. But, man, if you get consistency out of this bullpen and then add another arm, this is a bullpen that people will say this is going to be the downfall of the Orioles. This could be the strength of the Orioles. And people don't want to admit it, but this bullpen has, if consistent, major boom opportunity.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, and even here, Scott saying Keegan Aiken stepped up, who we know he's been struggling recently. Yes. It just felt like they grasped momentum today, where they saw Jacob Webb go in there and just calm things down, right? He was the calmer of this bullpen, and then it was just guy after guy after guy coming in, and they were the solutions today. They were not the problem. Everybody in that bullpen was the solution to, again, like Kyle Bradish said, the runs that he spotted Tampa. And sometimes that's how it should work, where, like we talk about with the offense, doesn't have to be the stars that step up every day. shouldn't be the starting staff that has to step up every day. Sometimes a starter can have a bad day. It happens in the MLB. Everybody goes through a struggle, but it's about who's behind you or even who's in front of you that picks you up. And that's what encouraged me, because maybe this is the turning point for this group. It looked like a game, you mentioned it, Zach, going to be like 12-10, like some crazy offensive output. But then after the fourth inning, both to the Orioles and the Rays bullpen's credit, it just stopped.
Yeah, and Kevin, we always talk about how the offense is hit or miss. The bullpen's hit or miss. Both of them, we just want consistency out of the other. If I tell you through 2 1/3, if I would have told you before the game, through 2 1/3, they're pulling Kyle Bradish. He's given up 5 runs. Man on what was it? Bases loaded at that point. Man on first and second when he got pulled.
Yeah,
you would have just simply gone, okay, we lost. Like that's how it felt. But today was different. The bullpen stepped up. The offense showed what we all know they're capable of, and it was truly one of those games where you just kept looking at yourself, going, "This is the type of team that can go deep in the playoffs." Yes. The starter did not do well, and he's one of your aces. That's what makes it even more remarkable. This wasn't, hate to throw shade on a guy like, I'm not throwing shade on Albert Suarez, but if an Albert Suarez gives up 5 runs in 2 2/3, you're going, okay, we called him up from the minors earlier. He's not considered an ace. That happens. But Kyle Bradish giving up 5 runs in 2 2/3, you're sitting there going, man, like, what are we doing? Can we win this game? And the rest of the team didn't blink. At no point did it feel like they ever gave up, and they dominated. It was one of the weirdest feelings in the ballpark, because even while Kyle Bradish was giving up runs, it didn't feel like he could get outs necessarily. At no point did it feel like the Orioles weren't in complete control because of the offense, and then eventually because of how well the bullpen was pitching.
A game like that can get away from you quickly, especially
So quickly.
when you see the starter give up so many runs. You have bullpen comes in the third inning. You have a long way to go to pull out a win in that game. The Orioles offense luckily they were on their P's and Q's with hitting the homers, and that's the way they won today. But at the end of the day, I'm giving if we're talking 1 up, 1 down, obviously for the down, Kyle Bradish did not have his stuff, but I'm giving my 1 up to the bullpen. I mean, the offense did great. Yeah. You could give it to Mounty, give it to Westberg, give it to Santander, but they don't win this game without their bullpen shutting it down like they did. And I'm seeing in the chat, Zach, a lot of love for Ciano Perez and the celebration hops for him. He's been on recently, hasn't he?
Yeah, Ciano Perez, man, he's one of those guys where the Orioles will never give up on him because of his measurables, because of the analytics side, the number side. Everything about him analytically tells you he can be a dominant player. And then you see the examples tonight where he comes in a massive situation where you're like, the Rays can get back in this. They can get back into a 1-run game. They could even tie it, but comes out and gets 2 outs like it was nothing. In complete control the entire time. If we're going 1 up, 1 down, obviously, unfortunately, I got to get my 1 down to Kyle Bradish, just like you. But you already gave it to the bullpen, so I'm not going to copy completely off you. I'll go Ryan Mountcastle. I'll go, do I want to? I have to go Mounty. Part of me wanted to go Westberg coming off the injury. He's still got the guys going. And then I'm going to go an honorable mention. I want to go an honorable mention. Jorge Mateo continues to produce in June. There was a lot of people, myself included, a little worried with the month change. We know Jorge has a tendency to be very good in some months and very bad in others. I was a little concerned seeing him, what he was going to do, but he continued to produce like we know. And I'm telling you, man, if Jorge Mateo plays like he's been playing, this team is at minimum losing in the ALCS. Like, that's how important Jorge Mateo is. That's how much he changes this offense when he's batting ninth. He can set up an offense in no way, unlike anyone else can, just because of his pure speed. He hits a single, he ends up on second. He walks, he ends up on third. He has this electricity in the batter's box, on the base paths, in the field, where he just feels like he changes the game in so many different ways. So he's the biggest guy that I'm like, man, if we continue to get this Jorge, this changes everything.
Yeah, and I know you do want to give some props to
Yes.
Westy.
You want to come on it? Yo, we got
Oh, all right. First ever. Let's.
Yo, what's up? What's up, everybody? How we doing? What's up, Kevin?
What's up? What's going on?
Stick yet? Has he found his stick yet?
No, he has not found his stick yet.
I don't know where it is, man. I don't know where it is.
Oh,
It scares me.
Shout out Mike. Mike's on listening.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love Mike.
Hey, I'm glad you came by.
Hey, hell yeah. That's what we do.
Brother. That's why we do this.
Yeah, man. First ever
Yeah,
live
for sure, bro.
live appearance. Look at that. Hell
This
yeah.
is why we do it.
That's incredible.
I love this show. I fucking love this show.
We've had so many people come up to us. Zach, I know you're kind of like the ambassador of the show at the ballpark, but that's actually a good time to get into a break of if you're new to the channel, like and subscribe. Yeah. Maybe you'll see Zach out and about doing a post-game live show and you'll be able to hop on. He's on the streets of Baltimore. He's been a man of the streets recently, haven't you?
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know how many live streams we'll be doing from the streets of Baltimore, but honestly, I kind of like it. I like the idea. He literally, I was just sitting here, I hear, Zach, are you on live right now? And I was like, come join. He was carrying pizza too. Put down the pizza for the stream. That's how dedicated you guys are, and that's why we love you.
That's incredible. So yeah, we do these after every single Orioles game. So win or lose, they've luckily. What's our record now, Zach? Are we 7-1, 8-1 since starting this?
Yeah, we're 8 and wow, we are 8-1.
8-1 since starting doing regular post game live streams. So maybe another Ryan Ripken show bump. We know that the players have had that. Maybe the post game streams just general wins for the team. So we'll be here after every win or a loss, so you can come celebrate with us, come vent with us as well if they lose. Also, if you want to become a channel member, I have a bunch of perks on there as well. Emotes that you can spam in the chat. All of us have one. Ryan's dog has one. My cat's going to get one at some point. The three-legged cat, the famous three-legged cat. And be sure to also join the Discord where there's a lot of other there are live watch parties in there. You can chat with other people, other viewers. So yeah, man, it's been one heck of a journey. Zach actually just hit his 100th stream a couple of streams ago now. So
yeah, I'm at
did the Wilt picture and everything.
Yeah, no, it's how can you not love this show, man? How can you not love the community that has been built around this? I mean, like you said, that kind of shows it all. That's how much we enjoy doing this because that stuff's awesome. We just enjoy talking ball, and we're just glad you guys are here to along for the ride with us. And that's why we want to do it starting every day because it truly is awesome just interacting with you guys and being that spot that people can go after wins and celebrate, and then after losses kind of be a little we'll be your therapist. You know, Kevin, we'll be the therapist.
Look at this Orioles bird watcher, a literal city connect. You are Zach Bollinger. You are the thing that connects this show to the city. You are the Orioles City Connect. That's you. So
what can I say? I try. I really try.
And Casey saying we can never stop or we'll lose. So we've been warned by her to.
We'll have to keep it up now.
We'll be doing it. We'll keep doing it. But let's do like a couple more quick points, Zach, and then we'll wrap this thing up. I know you want to give some shout outs to Jordan Westberg. I know you didn't do it and you're one up. We had a lot of people giving some shout outs to Jordan Westberg. Don't know if he's going to be where he'll be on All-Star, but you got to write him in the ballot right now. I mean, he's playing that well. Is he a lock at this point? Do you think? Is that
no? I will never. Unfortunately, when it comes to All-Stars, I will never call anyone a lock because I watched an injured Mike Trout who had played 3 games win over Seti, who was literally on his 33rd. So, unfortunately, with fan voting, I love the fans. You guys rock. Us fans, we don't know shit. Okay, I'll say it. The second we want All-Star games to mean something, we have to stop letting the fans vote. We have to stop letting the fans vote because that's how we end up in, what was it, 2014, where 6 of the 9 starters for the AL were Kansas City Royals. Like, you know, like I would love Omar Infante was batting .215 that year and was the starting second baseman. I would love to say Jordan Westberg is going to be the starting third baseman because he deserves it. Look at the stats. Compared to every other third baseman, he's the guy. But they're going to give it to like Alex Bregman or something. And it sucks. It hurts me so bad.
Yeah, well, we all know Westy should be an all-star, but obviously
without a doubt,
the fan vote will tell the story of who everybody else does. But Rick makes a good point here, and I want you to we can both talk about this one. Feels like Westy's been the most consistent hitter on the team, honestly. We talked about this I think it was a month or two ago, Zach, about the Orioles circle of trust. And he is like
number one,
maybe the top guy in the if you're listening or watching. Who is in your Orioles circle of trust? Because I think for both of us, Zach, Westberg is at the top of that list because he consistently produces. Not that he is the quote unquote best player on the team, but when you need a consistent guy, when you need a hit or even a play here or there on the field, Westberg gives it to you.
Yeah, it feels like Jordan Westberg's never going to go 4 for 4 with 4 home runs, but every single day he's going to go 2 for 4, 1 for 3 with at least an RBI and one play in the field that made you go, okay, that saved a run. And he is. That's why, like you said, he's number one on my circle of trust. If we're talking best player, Gunnar Henderson, hands down, no questions. But circle of trust, person, it doesn't matter any moment I want up at the plate, it's Jordan Westberg. Because, like you said, Kevin, you hit it on the head. He's just going to get it done.
Yeah, 100%. So we'll do one more topic here. First of all, Justin, I gotta get close to the cat. I'll eat for this one. We're gonna clap it up for Justin. Love these streams. Got to take a break from the belated honeymoon. Wanted to leave a little something to show my appreciation before I go. Justin, we appreciate you so much. We appreciate everybody who's been watching. For that one, Justin, I will eat another celebratory celery on the live stream just for you. So this is your piece of still extremely long, unnaturally long piece of celery. So I'll throw it to Zach while I mute myself to eat the celery. But thank you, Justin, for that. Last topic. I think we talk about it every single live stream because people ask about it every single live stream. Pigtown Sports. Do you think they eventually make a move to bring in another arm during the crazy stretch for a couple outings? Gonna find a way to rest guys. I think he meant gotta find a way to rest guys.
Yeah.
If we see a move, again, we've been pretty consistent on this, Zach. It's going to be during the trade deadline, right?
Yeah, I don't think we see a move in June. I think if we do see a move in June, it is late June. The move I think that happens is going to happen. There's 3 moves I think happen potentially in June, and this is all in-house. I'm sorry if you wanted me to say that they're about to trade for Mason Miller. I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. I think Matt Crook, we want to talk about the weird lefty that we got from the New York Yankees over the offseason. He doesn't even throw, I believe, above 91 miles an hour, but he has less than, I think, a 1.5 ERA in AAA this year. He is absolutely shutting guys down, and that's what he's been his whole career. He's just been a weird lefty that guys, his motion, his windup, his delivery is just so weird. Guys can't figure it out. I think he gets a shot. I think Cade Povich, if they need an arm in the rotation, I think Cade Povich gets a shot. I don't think Sean McDermott gets a shot because he's coaching the Buffalo Bills. But Chase McDermott, maybe. That's a throwback for if you were watching last night. But I do think it is – I think we see opportunities in-house, but I don't think, especially in June, we see the outside opportunities coming until it's very late June, early July, sorry.
Yeah, I thought you didn't learn your lesson from last night with Sean McDermott. I'm like,
no,
really?
I just wanted to bring it up to see if you guys caught on.
Yes, no Sean McDermott. They have, and Zach has made this point over and over again. They're going to exhaust every single in-house option until they need to go outside the organization. They might take a couple more flyers eventually, but at the end of the day,
okay, people are going to be mad about it. There's going to pick up 1 or 2 guys that you go, why the hell are we picking them up? And maybe they work out, maybe they don't. But Mike Elias has made a living on these guys working out, so they're not going to stop now.
No. So I think that, again, as we get closer, Ryan's timeline is after June, and I think that's when the trade conversation will start to pick up, with the trade deadline being, pretty close after that. So at the end of the day, the Orioles do have depth. It's just a matter of which guys can step up and be consistent for them, like we saw today. If they can have more outings like they did today, paired with what they've generally had all season, which is starting pitching that's been good, that could make a dangerous combination with an offense that we know can be electric. So, Zach, anything else you got before we head out here? I always say that to me, you could be, this is a Saturday night, right? You could be going to the bars, you could be going out on a date, you could be hanging out watching a movie. You're choosing to spend it with us here on the Ryan Ripken Show. So really appreciate everybody. Zach, final thoughts on the way out. Are you about to have a night?
Kevin, yesterday I was outside of a house, like kind of just having a casual night. I'm telling you, warning you right now, I am legitimately like, I took this call when I walked outside of a bar. So it's going to be a night in Birdland. It's going to be a night in Birdland. If you see me out, come say hi.
Yeah, Zach's about to have a night again. If you see him out on the streets of Baltimore, maybe there'll be a couple more Baltimore live streams.
Maybe
right?
we're on live stream. Who knows? We just saw right there. You never know. If you come see me, please say hi. We might be on live stream. You might just get to be on.
Yeah, and that's the same thing. When any of us are at the park, or if you see any of us around, whenever, we're all very approachable. We're not going to hurt you. We're not going to do anything crazy. Come say hi. Zach might bite, but the rest of us won't. So at the end of the day, actually, I think
depends on how many beers.
Rocco would be the biter out of all of us.
Without a doubt, Rocco's the biter.
Yeah. So we're gonna get out of here. I think I'm gonna go do some night swimming, if we're being honest. So that should
Why?
Because who doesn't like night swimming, Zach? Do you not like night swimming?
Yeah, not sober.
Well.
Okay, that sounds like I have an issue. I'm so bad.
Yeah,
okay.
Okay.
That sounds like I have an issue. No, I enjoy night swimming. I'll just say that.
Thank you. So I'm gonna go do what I said I was gonna do and enjoy some night swimming. I will report back on how it is. Maybe one of us or maybe both of us, Zach, Holy Shirts and Pants content.
Maybe.
Maybe. So if you want to be a part of the members, want to be a part of the members, be sure to hit that join button next to subscribe for exclusive content. We're still pinning down when those member live streams are going to be. We're going to get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday and the rest of your weekend. We'll see you right back here. Orioles going for the sweep tomorrow. We'll be back here on the Ryan Ripken Show. Like and subscribe.
Hopefully with brooms. Hopefully with brooms.
And if they do, I'll have my 3 brooms ready to go. So have a day, have a night, have a weekend. We'll see you back here tomorrow on the Ryan Ripken Show. Peace.
Peace, everyone.